Welcome to the Hampshire 1900 start for Workers and Resources Soviet Republic, and we're picking up on the 20th of December 1911. Now, apologies for starting in the snow, but there's a couple of things I want to get done straight away, and I want to show them to you. So we're kind of stuck with this position. Hopefully we will get through this phase and get rid of the snow relatively quickly. Now, what I want to do is set something up before we actually get into doing an update. And while I'm doing this, as usual, a big thank you for your comments and feedback. You guys give me a lot to think about. The first thing I want to do is send this hauler to there, because if I come round to here, you'll see that I've now set up the cableway's been built out to here. So what I want to do is actually get the cargo, the actual cableway wagon kind of vehicles, or whatever you want to call them. Can't remember what they're called at the moment. Here we are here, these cabins. If you kind of do a filter, I think these are called passenger cabins. And what I want to do is get 4 of these. So we're going to get 1, 2, 3, 4 of those to start with. We're probably going to get more later on. And hopefully that open hole will be in here. And what we're going to do is go to here. This is something, when you build cableways, this is one of the chores that you've got to do. Is come to here, and press that. Now I'm going to put this over here. Just make sure that, yeah, because I want to show you how that transportation actually works. So that's the first thing I want to kind of set up and get kind of prepared. The other thing also is that if you watch the previous series, you'll be aware that I was doing the research for the fuel crossing. So if we come down to here, if I can find it, you can see here what I've actually done off camera is I've actually researched the pipeline connection for the border, and also I've done the same for the NATO border. Not that we're probably ever going to use it. And I've actually researched the OPEC membership purely because I just wanted to get it out of the way. So what we've got now, if I come down to here, there is foreign pipeline connection. So if we come here, you'll see that we've got this pipeline connection. And all we've got to do is, well, flip it the other way so that we can get the road on the right side. Then we can just put this in like that. I'll just put you there. Just kind of close that down a little bit. And we're just going to run. Actually, I'm going to run up to about there, and then run into all of there. So that picked up. Let me just see. Now what you can see here is that this open hole was picked up 2 wagons. So if you look very carefully, you'll see that there's actually 2 actual wagons on there. And what that will do is look to deliver them to the border. So I'm just going to minimize that. And if we come back over to here, let's just make sure. Okay, I want to turn off the number of students and tourists. And then once we've got a couple of cables in here, we'll be able to get a workforce, because there is power out here. But I'll be talking a little bit more about power in a little while. Now, what I've done. So what we got here is this bitumen tank, or it will be a bitumen tank when it's actually built. Remove resources on construction site. And then what I'm going to, now we've got the border crossing here. Now this is passive. So if you connected this directly to this, it won't work. You've actually got to put in a pump. Let's just see. Yeah, so you've got to put a pump in. Just make sure we got a power supply to it. I think we can kind of just do that. And then we can just hook. Why is that not? Oh, this is an underground connector. That's 12 tons. Let me just see if there's a difference. I've never really looked at this. So maybe this is a good opportunity to... Oh, this actually uses marginally less steel. So what we'll do, we've got to save a little bit of money because we are getting into kind of tightwad connections. It might explain why that didn't show the connections straight away. So we're going to put you there. That will have a pipeline connection to there. Now I may want to use this area. So what we are going to do is come here, go there, press F3. We are going to go up and connect to there. With these actual border connections is you can't have a two-way connection. You can either have one-way or two-way. So what we've got now is we've got this connection that will come to here, which will then allow us to export bitumen across the border. So that's the first thing we got to do. Now, the next thing I want to talk a little bit about is power, because at the moment we've got no real power demands on this at all at the moment. You can see here we're barely drawing any power whatsoever at the moment in the way of megawatts, but then we're not really using any intense industries. But what will happen is that once this comes online, this will start to draw a lot of power, or a lot more power is probably the correct way of saying it. Now what I want to do here is put another power station in. So let me just see, mod power plants. And of course we're going to use this one here with the 8 megawatt cutoff. Kind of thinking we just kind of scoot you onto this corner here. I think what I will do though is we're going to do a little bit of land recovery here. Just going to pause, height from center, press F2. We're going to recover a little bit of land along his line here. Maybe just straighten this edge off a little bit. So I don't want to do too much. I think that should be enough. And then if we come to get the power flowing again, what I want now is high voltage 6 switch. And what I'm going to do, actually, can I put you over here? Now I want to put this mount here. Trouble is I can't see the roads. Downside of mud roads. I want to put you about there. There's a road coming out from here, so will this... No, oh, this won't go under there. Okay, that's no good. Right, let me just remove that. Okay, looks like we're going to have to put it here. I was hoping to get it on this side here. Actually, we can get the road round here, can't we? So, because we're going to need to have some form of connection there. Okay, so what I can do is put you at a slight angle. And we can run round like that. Apologies that you can't see the actual mud roads at the moment, but we will eventually gravel this in. Yeah, I think that'll work. And then what I'm going to do is the circuit breaker for this is 8 megawatts. And this is 5. This is 8. And what we're going to do is come to here. Now, the reason I'm put this in and this in is, one, this will provide, we go to this will provide direct power to here, even though we've got a substation here. and more importantly, this will provide power when we go out this way. But at the same time, I want to run a power connection back to here so that we can, how can you put it, get a connection to here so that we can, this will supply power to this, because eventually we will have an industry over here. So we're going to need a power connection that will go out that way. But at the same time, this is the reason why I put this 6-way connector here, is that eventually we're going to be building a town. Let me just see, because I'm kind of thinking ahead now. We've got coal over here. Where's the coal? It's in this area somewhere. There it is. It's over here. We've got coal here, coal here. So what we're going to be doing is, because eventually we're going to need the coal and those resources, partly for the steel, which will be up there. So what we'll be doing is, ideally I would like, if possible, to build the town here. So we got the expansion into Portsmouth down to the port. I think the name of this place would be in real life is Cosham, which is kind of just to the north of Portsmouth. So the idea is we'll build another town here, which would be close enough to supply workers to our coal mines, and more importantly, we got our spur here, so we could then start maybe plan a rail line which will then move the coal both for our steam driven trains, and also the iron mine up over there. Let me just see. I just want to see, where are you? We've still got 2 more out of there. So, but what we should have now is we've now got the beginnings of that. So what I'm going to do is just open up this a little bit. So what we're going to have, we've now got this, and this is the area here. Now we need fire trucks. I will come back to the power. I just want to get this set up, because before we commit to start building all this up, we need to have here fire trucks. Kind of part of the, this is an 8, this is an 8, this is an 8, this is faster, and this is where we're going to have to spend some money. I'm going to get 2 steam powered fire trucks here. The reason for that is that what I want to do, where is the fuel distribution? Fuel distribution is still over here, and what we're going to do is put fuel in there, because if I put wagons out here, we're going to have to put a crop feeder, and what we really want is just to put the fuel directly into here. So, and of course we're going to need kind of whatever we're going to need here. So we got this here. Eventually we'll get workers out to here, and that will work. What's it? The other thing I'm also put in here at the moment is both the water and the sewage, although I did have to put a sewage lift pump here because the ground here was way too flat. Anyway, back to what I was talking about is, so we've got, if I show you the power here, is that we will be running industries out this way. So what I want to do now is, I don't think, how much steel? You're 2.5 steel. This is a high-low, this is a high-high, this is 3. Actually, this uses less. So I think what we'll do is we're going to put this about here. We'll put we're going to put an 8 megawatt connection to there, like that. And then what's the next one down? 4 megawatt, 6 megawatt. And we're going to then put in a put a 6 megawatt connection there. Let's make sure that is that. Yep. So what that means is that these two power stations can combine to here, which will allow us to run power out in this direction, and then at the same time I can now run a terminal out this way. It's a bit complicated, but the trouble is we've got to run individual power supplies out this way. Now we've got power into this area here, so what I'm going to do now is we're going to put a transformer out about here, and this time I think we will go underground. We only need like enough to get going. I think we can come off there, you can come to there. Oops, I don't want that. And we can put that line in there. That will bring the 6 megawatt cable out to here, and that means that we can then put in a station up here. I don't think we can. Well, that, I mean, ideally I would like, if possible, if I could get that level of coverage from there. That covers that pump, that covers that pump. So if I can get you there, and then this is 1.85, 1.5. I think what we'll do is, again, we're going to go underground with the 1.85. I think we're actually going to go past and round and back. It looks a bit odd, but is that actually going to work? Yeah, it does. And what that will do is bring the power out to here. Now, of course, what we've also got to do here, I'm not sure if I don't think I've actually put the pipelines in. Have I put the pipelines in? Yeah, we put the pipelines in. So we've got, so what we'll have is the power supply here, power supply here. That will give us our initial oil flow from this one, and this one when it's built. Then eventually over time we can expand out this way using the power grid. So we've got this running here, we got this in here, so we're now in a kind of a phase about the snow. Okay, do we have the 4, what we call it's in here now? Yeah, we've got 4. Right, what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to pick up the vehicle. Where are you? And we're going to send you back to there. So what we're going to need to do now is kind of go full steam on getting this built. And hopefully we're going to get workforce into here. Right, we've got fire coverage here, which is good, and we've also got a little bit of workforce out here. Don't need to build this just yet, so we're going to suspend these, because what I really want to do is work on these. Well, don't really need that built. We need to start building this infrastructure out this way. So what we're going to do is get these guys starting to work on. Well, we certainly need that built, and we certainly need that built. There's no, looks like there's no road connection here. No. So you've got to come out that way to there, because there's no point investing in the actual, what we call it. I think we'll build the high voltage switch here. It's not, that won't be that expensive. It's only 2.5 tons of steel. So we'll get that done. But what I want to do now is start pushing out this way so that we can get the ground crew going out that way. And of course, more importantly, I do need it. So we do need the switch gear. Okay, so we've got to build the switch gear, which means we need to build this, and more importantly, we've got to build that. As I say, we don't need the power station, but we do need the power to come out here, run up through this lot. So that is the current situation here. Now, if I come over here, we got a totally different problem. And that is, if I find my, what we call it, my pollution meter, wherever you are, there you are. I come in the pollution meter just to show you. You can see that the pollution is now creeping out towards here, because I've now got 3 burning pits going here virtually all the time now, which is a bit of a problem, because we're now starting to look at the fact we need to work at proper waste processing, because eventually this is going to get overwhelmed as this area actually expands. So what I'm going to do now is the fact that I don't want to plan this next step in the snow, because I can't see what I'm doing. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to cut the video here, and I'll come back once we've actually got rid of the snow. It'll only be by the end of February, and I'll see you there. Okay, welcome back. The snow is just fading. One thing I didn't show you at the end of the last part was the fact that we, the demolition office here is actually still kind of working on this area here. I'm not exactly sure where their waste truck is. Let me just see if I can find it. Let me just see where the waste trucks are. Okay, they're both in here. Why are they not actually? This is 1.3 tons of metal scrap. Let me just check. I wonder if these guys have actually got anywhere to dispose of the metal scrap. Yep, bit of a fail there. We'll just sell that. Hazardous waste were put into here. Right. Yeah, bit of a mistake there. Now, while I was actually playing on and to get rid of the snow, I did have a bit of an unemployment problem up here with respect to these guys. So I moved some workers down to here. So that means we've got more workers now into here. The problem we've got now is the fact that this is a bit too productive. I could bring in another steam hauler here, but I think at the moment we're just going to get going. The other thing I've also done is I've instigated the building of this so that we could suck up some spare workforce into this area just for the moment. Now, the problem I've got, as I've already mentioned, is the fact that I've got this pollution here. So what we're going to do is actually start some serious waste processing now. And what I want to do is we're going to build a what is it? We're going to build the small incinerator. We've got a small one here, but this is too big and it's too polluting. So what we're going to do is we're going to put this incinerator in, and what I'd like to do is This has got to be, how far away is this? It's 250 meters per cloud, I think. Was it 300 meters? So you can say that 300 meters is 600, half a cloud. So this has got to be about 700 or 800 meters away from the edge of our. So you can say this is the edge here. So I'm wondering if I can come up. That's 500. So we're talking up about here, because this eventually will get fairly busy. In fact, I think what we'll do is we'll just cancel that and come out straight out. I think we're going to literally have to put it out here. Yes, I know the happiness is too low. You're complaining like heck. So what we're going to have to do is put this out quite literally here. Now, what I want to do here is actually try and future-proof this. I think what we'll do is we'll build this straight in like that. So we're going to get the instrument. We're going to have to get power out here. And of course, we'll probably need water and all the other rubbish as well. What I want to do is, if I show you the factory connections, we've got factory connections in that direction, factory connections in this direction. We've got lots of factory connections. Now, eventually, once we get to the necessary point, we're going to get general separation, so we can get a separation plant out this way. But what we are going to need to do is put a dump out here. This is 10 tons of steel. My instinct is to put a small claw out this way. This is 10 tons of steel, because what we're going to have to do is build a place to put that there, and then eventually, and what will happen is the incinerator will burn the necessary goods, and then what we'll do is we will how can you put it, we will kind of store the ash in here, but of course to begin with it's going to be contaminated, so we're just going to push this straight out into this area. But the other thing I would like to do, if possible, is something like that. The problem is I don't know what we're going to do with the general separation. So if we just put an ordinary small dump in, yeah, I think what we'll do is we'll put a small dump in here. What's this? This is going to be 80 tons. Yeah, we're going to put you in there, but when the time comes, what we may have to do is how many years away are we from general separation? Let's just have a quick look at that. So if we cut research, I think it's 1930, is it? General separation, or is it later than that? (1934), 1935. So we got about, what's that? God, I can't do the maths. Apologies. It's about 20 odd years before we get out to there. I mean, this could be redundant in 20 years' time for all I know. Apologies that my maths is, I'm not kind of thinking a bit claggy. We're really in the centre of a heat wave here at the moment in the UK, and it is getting a little bit unbearable. I mean, I think record temperatures are being set at the moment, and I think yesterday it got up to the high 20s, which I know doesn't sound much, but for the UK, a high 20s is well beyond the fringe. Mainly because we're just not set up to kind of do this thing. So need to do some garbage collection here. Burnable waste. Yeah. Oh no, we got that. You should be in range of that. Yeah, you should be in range of that. Why have you got that full up then? I'm going to be optimistic and put biological waste there. So this area is going, we've got workforce into here, although, oh wow, it looks like we've actually got our first wear and tear on machines. Wow, that's going to be an expensive repair. Didn't realize that. That's expensive, 12 tons of steel to repair that. But what we do have here is this being built as well. But of course this won't really function, or it will function, and so this will push into there. What I'm doing at the moment is I'm actually pushing the food from here into here. So our little wagon, which should be around here somewhere. Where's the wagon that's come on, orientated vehicles, where are you then? Okay, I think what's happened here, if we actually take a look at this guy, wear and tear 39%, we go check the wear and tear. Yep, this, what's happened here is he went all the way up to here to get repaired, because of course he's a lone traveller, which means vehicles can't come out to him to repair, so he has to go to here to actually be repaired. Anyway, so we've now got our kind of waste separation here. What we are going to need to do is actually get a power supply out here. Always got obsession with power supplies. Right, we've got a power takeoff there. And what I'm going to do here is we've got, where's the fire station? The other thing I'm considering is that we actually need another fire station, because this fire station is quite useful, but he does, great. We've got an example. What you'll see is the fire truck's just there. It's just coming down. You see, he's going to get here, but for the fire truck, it's a bit antisocial. So that wasn't too bad, but the trouble is if that happens in the winter, things can be a bit of a problem. Right, what's our average? 30. Right, we're going to kind of start getting the education going there. The other thing I want to check is, this is 165 meters. Right, we're also going to need another monument. So we're going to have to put a monument in down here, because these are now out of range. But I think what I'd like to do, if possible, is put the monument, just have a quick check. This kind of goes out this way, so we're going to put a monument in here, because we've got to keep the pressure on with respect to education. This is 415. How much is this going to cost me? 19 tons of steel. Actually, this is 19 tons of steel. The Kremlin Tower is 4.1. This is 5.2. I like that 5.2 influence with the red star, because of course we've got the big monuments now. But the Kremlin walls has 252.4. The tower is Kremlin walls. Where's the tower? That's 2.5. That's 4.1. But that's 12 tons of. I think I'd rather go for the big star, but the problem's going to be is I think what we could do is put the star just in the back of the store here. So if we can get you in really close. I'm very concerned about the fact that we are spending lots and lots of money, but there's nothing we can do about it. I mean, we'll take a loan if necessary. So we'll put the star there. That will help with the happiness. I mean, we got quite a lot of food here. This hasn't even started. Has this been detected? Let me just make sure. Is this on the right? Let's make sure. All vehicles. See, what should happen now is this will fill up with 1 ton, and then that should flow into here, which will flow into the truck here, which will go to here. I think we'll run this at the moment and just fill this up as we're going to keep going. Right, how are we doing up here? Again, we've got lots of stuff being built. I think what I'd like to do is we're just going to break this. Now, this road's important, so we're going to can I remove that connector there? What's that there? Is that a footpath? It doesn't seem to be going anywhere. This is where I find out there's something underground though. Right, we're going to get that built. We're going to get the road crew. So I think we need this road gravelled. Built this substation. Okay, how many workers we got in here? So we're getting a few workers out here, but most of them are probably going into keeping this fire station running, which is going to be very, very important because we can't afford this to burn down. So what we got to do now is play the waiting game, simply because that's all we can do at the moment, because I don't want to push any further. What I will do is just see how we're doing for flows and workforce over here. We'll let workers into there. We're going to get more and more workers into here. Hopefully by doing that we will make more and more money. Yeah, it's the concrete that's going to be an issue. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to spend some money on getting a couple more concrete mixers. Not covered holes, concrete. I'm going to get 2 of those. Yeah, I think it's the concrete that's holding us back. Yeah, I think these are waiting for these to fill up. Now, there's a potential pollution problem here, but we can fix that if it becomes necessary. So, yeah, so I think over here it's just a matter of grinding things out, building up the power connections. Let me just, yeah. And what's this here? Is this being built? No, okay. Want you working on, because we don't have that connection, we won't have power out to here. So I'm not, the only reason I'm going to bring this online is if for some reason that it'd be easier to bring the workforce out to here. So at the moment, so this is still building up, so that's a bit of a problem. The other thing also I haven't checked is my research. It's expired. Okay. At the moment, with respect to research, all I'm doing now is just researching what I can. I think for the fun of it, what we'll do is research bauxite. I mean, to be honest, we're not going to be mining bauxite for a very, very long time. So there's not much point in that. In fact, I think while I'm thinking about it is we'll check our research over here. And we're still researching stroke. We got nothing else here unless I do another pipeline connection, but that's a waste of time. Right, we got a small little school here because this building was out of range and I didn't really want to build a major one. Right, we are finally working on this. And of course, the thing about when you've got wear and tear on machines is the building does not produce, when you've got a machine connection, the building does not actually, how can you put it, produce anything. So at the moment we're producing 0.6 tons of food there. Okay. So we'll get a little bit more food coming from there. Let's just check the economy again. Last month, yeah, 25,000. That's because I bought vehicles though. Again, our biggest drain is still, well, it's crops, but also steel. In fact, thinking about crops, what's the situation over here? Okay, we're virtually empty now. So eventually we're going to be running on crops there. We've got a steam train. And have we got any other new vehicles that have come in? Yeah, we're getting the steam trains coming in now. This is one of the reasons why I haven't rushed to actually, how can you put it? This is one of the reasons why I haven't rushed for rail. Because, to be honest, prior to about 1920, 1930, rail is not particularly that useful. So we'll get this built and then we'll put a substation. I don't think I've got any spare connectors here. I think I've used them all up again, haven't I? Let me just see. Yeah. Now, one problem we will have out here is fire. So we're actually going to need a bus station, I think. Yeah, we're going to need a proper bus station because we're going to have to build a fire station out here. Mainly to protect this area. Because I think what we're getting here now is the beginnings of a, you can say a kind of new industrial area. Because I think once we've got this built, we can then start thinking about adding more pollution out here. Because, like, for example, I come to construction here. So we got 68%. Actually, let's just do some planning. I've got nothing else to do. If we put in a, and we can't afford to squeeze that much. Actually, I think if we, yeah, I think, well, we've got the beginnings of, so if we got the waste there, oh, look at that, we've got 94% there. I think what we're going to do is put a quarry here. It'll take a little while to come there. Can we get a road out? Yeah, so that's one quarry. And then what we'll see if we can get, I think if we can get 2 quarries out here. That's 95%. If we get 2 quarries very close together, like that, that's 97%. That gives us 2 quarries. Now, one of the problems we're going to have with these quarries is that, unlike the larger version, which we won't get access to until modern industry, which I think is about 1950s, is that these have to run trucks in to collect stuff to be able to get things out. So what we're going to need to do is, I think maybe it's time to think about this bridge, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, this is a concrete bridge, so I think we can start thinking about getting this built now. Because what we can do is get this out here. I think we'll probably put around about here, run up into here. And what we'll probably do is, again, this is where cableways come in. We'll probably run a cableway down into here a bit so that we can get our construction industry a little bit closer, because this doesn't need a workforce. Although it may burn down, but burns down, it burns down. Let me just see how we're doing over here. What's the shortage now? Mech components. This is a very expensive repair. Didn't realize that. How are we doing here? I just want to make sure. Okay, we've got this here. Concrete again is a big issue. Looks like we've got all our concrete guys are out. Yep. Okay. Right, this is virtually empty. Wow. We're getting into serious repair time now. Again, this is repairing this. Wow. This is draining our money very, very quickly. We're going to have to do something about this. We may have to call a little bit of... how are we doing here? Well, I think we may have to build this in slow time and put the focus very much on over here. Because we need a stronger source of income. Yeah, this is going to be a little bit touch and go. I mean, we can borrow money. If I just to show you about money, where is it? I mean, we can borrow up to 2 million should we need to, but I don't really want to go that route. I mean, the only reason I would borrow money is to get this area up and running, including the what we call it, the oil refinery. Although to do that, we're going to need more workers into here. I think what we're going to need to do is this is going to be generating a little bit of money, but I think I need another kind of building here, because these can all get to there. I think I am going to plan another building here. I think what we're going to have to do is kind of historic. Oops. Where's the S? Historic apartments. Right, these don't need these don't actually need steel, which is our biggest drain. So what I'm going to do is, I'm not going to build them, I just want to plan them. We're going to put one there, one there, and then we're just going to snick out. And what we can do is build the footpath around the back like that. Connect you up there. Now what we do need to do is make sure that these have got access to all the services. Yeah, yeah, so that's good. That should give us enough of sufficient workforce to drive this oil refinery. See, this is going to need 95 tons of steel. That's going to be painful. But I think we're going to need the infrastructure first. I mean, actually, come to think of it, if we build this first, we're going to need the power out here. Yeah, I think if we can build the power, what we could do is actually export the oil. Yeah, and what's the price of oil? Let me just see. Economy, current prices, oil. Yeah, we'd get 22.24 rubles per ton of oil. Yeah, I think that's going to be the strategy. If we don't need to build all the way out to here. All we need is this built. Actually, if I build that, but we need power. Right. Let's sort this out. Underground pumping station. We don't need you. We need this built to run to there, which will then build that. Right. Yeah, that's going to be our strategy. If we can get one of these up and running. Right, we need the power out here. So we're going to need that, which will then... Oh no, we need that built, don't we? And we need this built out to here as well, because that will power that. And we will need that pump built, and we will need that built. Ground crew is working on that. Good. No ground crew working on that. Let me just get the ground crew. Okay. Well, it says the ground crew is working on all these out here. Yeah, I think that will work. Oh, that the anything ground crew is not delivering to is that. We don't need that at the moment. We need that, we need that, we need that, we need that. And of course, the nice thing about this is if we can start shipping at least a tiny bit of oil from here. Now, we may have to start with trucks. If we can get this built first, the power supply built this in, we can then pick up the oil from here, because I think these have a small storage, so we can start exporting the oil. Then we can work down to here, and then we can export the oil from here, from this. It'll still be the same oil, but we will be able to get this going, and then eventually, because this is going to take a long time to build. Yeah, I think that will work. It's just going to take a little while to get things up and running, and we may run out of money. Right. This suspend you and you. I don't want this being built by accident. Not at the moment. We can put resources into this because this doesn't really count. We'll say we can get that built. I think we're going to suspend all new construction in this area for the moment. So once this is built, that will have twofold effect. One, it will save us money, and two, it will mean that any new population, which if we come up here, yeah, the population's growing slowly. Any new population will get pushed into war stock where we really need them. This is really painfully slow. Yeah, it's on the way, but we still need. So the rate we're going is we're not going to get much out of this farm this year. The good thing is we've got loads of workers in here queuing up, ready to come into here. I mean, I probably could do with another covered hole, but at the end of the day, okay, so I think these silos will now be empty. We're consuming that. what we'll do is we'll prepare for the what we call it. Already assigned. It's just want to check the fields, see whether we can get any more assignments in. We might as well get the maximum haulage benefit from these. Yeah, so that's that. Not that they can collect from every field, because this is, we're still building up the fertility here. I am going to need to start thinking a little bit more about fertilizer, but right, this just needs to be built, and then that will kind of improve our overall effect there. Well, that's a mistake. Yep, we're not exporting alcohol. Oh, that's a big mistake. Yeah, I selected clothes instead of alcohol. Okay, so we might get a little bit more income from here now, although we need bigger trucks. Okay, we've got a new type of vehicle. We've got another train. Actually, I think it's time now. It says research program finished. Right, I'm just going to clear all the messages. Right, so we've now unlocked bauxite. Fat lot good it's going to be, but what you'll see is this is something I've alluded to several times during the series already. You can, about the fact that the Isle of Wight is Treasure Island. You can see that completely now, and the fact that the oil's down here. The only source of bauxite is down here. This is why I said that doing the research was a bit pointless, but why not? Simply down to the fact that we have to get to the Isle of Wight to be able to develop it, but not that it makes that much difference, because see, the medical, we still haven't quite got there with the medical research. Let's get back over here. So what I'm really doing just at the moment is we're just pushing out the research with respect to just trying to get a few things done. We've got bauxite purification methods, train production, airport infrastructure. Let's have a look at what we've got here. I mean, steel is getting attractive again. You can see I've run into walls all the way down now. Train production would be nice. Steel would finish off this area here, and of course it'd be 1934 before we do anything else. So that kind of closes off that area. We've got modern electric pylons, which would be 1934 is going to get quite a busy year. 39, airport infrastructure. What does this do? A technical study of aircraft traffic will prepare you for considering the fundamentals and components of air traffic control, runways, taxiways. I wonder whether we could get a basic. Let me just see check something. Go to mods. Clear that. Yeah. Just want to see whether we've got anything to do with airships. Airplane kindergarten. Okay, this is actually telling me absolutely nothing. Airport connections. Woodgate. We got airplane. Actually, Zeppelins. So we could actually build Zeppelins. Trouble is, I don't know whether we. Oh, I think we've got Zeppelins available. Question is, what would I do with them? Because I can't see the vehicles here. This isn't very much. This won't cost me very much. It would cost me 20 tons of gravel. And this is 158. Wow. That's a serious bit of kit. Okay, guys, opinions. Do you feel that we might need something like in the form of a Zeppelin? I mean, no, I think at the moment we'll just put that on hold. I think that's just going to drain even more of my money for something that's a little bit too experimental at the moment. So this is coming together. I must admit, I've never really done anything at all with respect to Zeppelins. So that's something that we're going to need to think about. Got a little bit of biological waste here, but it's not really that much of a problem. Let me just see. I'm actually running out of things to say at the moment because I can't push forward too hard. I'd like to get that done. Okay, guys, I've quite literally run out of things to say and things to do, actually, because obviously we're still waiting for this silly things to be built. What are you waiting for? Yeah, we got electronics coming in. Where are you? Yeah, this is very expensive to repair. I think we might be getting rid of these, although when we're making money it'd be okay. Anyway, the temperature's already starting to build, and it's only what, it's only 6:30 in the morning at the moment. I think it's mainly down to the fact the computer's cooking up a little bit as well. So this is where I'm going to leave it. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you found it interesting. What I will do is play on, probably we might play all the way through until 1913, because I think the next thing we really got to do is get this area kind of a little bit functional so that we can start making some more money, because at the moment we're literally blowing a fortune. You can see here steel, 75 tons of steel. It's the steel that's really chewing us up at the moment now, and there's not much I can do about it beyond trying to make some profit. So this is where I'm going to leave it. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you found it interesting, and until next time, whatever you do, enjoy your gaming.